help us keep it going. Every listen, like, and subscription to The Unfolding presented by the Loveland Foundation helps us do more than just share powerful stories. It helps fund real therapy sessions for Black women and girls across the country. When you subscribe, you're not just supporting a podcast, you're helping us show funders that this work matters, that this community is growing, and our mental health support deserves real investment. So if you've been moved by what you've heard, take a second, like, subscribe, and share. It is a small gesture that can make a generational impact. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Unfolding, presented by the Loveland Foundation. I'm your host, Rachel Keener, and today, I'm very, very, very excited to be speaking with playwright, writer, and now director, Aleshea Harris. She has beautiful works that just talk about topics of grief and rage and ritual and just like radical imagination while holding a mirror of like what Black women have to navigate through in their everyday life. And through her play, which is now her feature directorial debut, Is God Is, she creates this beautiful world where Black women could just be fully human and fully flawed and fully like feel things and not have to be performative. So this film really meant a lot to me. I've watched it already, and I'm excited to watch it again. I'm bringing my friends this weekend to watch it. But I just want to talk to you first and say, like, what is God Is to you, and like how did the story come to life from bringing it from stage to screen?
Yeah, well, Is God Is for me is a story that has changed my life. And it is also a space. It's a space that I created for myself to sort of medicine things that I notice in the culture that I find problematic. So it's a myth that I made to take care of myself. It's this, I could also say it's a story of a pair of twin sisters who go on a journey where they learn a great deal about themselves and each other, and unexpected things happen. And my impetus for writing it was really that I wondered what would happen, or I thought it felt exciting to try and write something that took its cues from ancient Greek tragedy, but was populated by Black folks, by folks who look and speak like myself. And that was sort of the first seed and germ of an idea for Is God Is. And I just let myself go hog wild. And it really, I think, encapsulates my interests and, my curiosities and the things that are keeping me up at night, right? So there's a lot of conversations like that I'm having, like the one I'm having with you now, where people are like, well, what are the whats and the whys and how did you get there? But when I was writing, it's at the speed of thought, right? It's largely instinctive. Of course, I go back and shape it. I understand I'm a storyteller. Got to go back and, you draft and you redraft. But a lot of it is there. The shortest answer is I was just interested. I was curious. I thought it would be fun. And then I go back to, okay, Aleshea, why? What was going on there? What are you mad about? You're writing from the inside of your own rage. What's there,
Yeah, it's funny because when I watched it, my first immediate thought was, "Oh, my new comfort movie," and like I wouldn't think to pair the two, but like I come from a place where like one of my favorite comfort movies is Kill Bill, and I love like this idea of like revenge and like people like justice. I feel like in this world today, I just see so much like injustice. I just love seeing like a sweet like like get them again, get them again. I'm just
so. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead, please. But you had a sister. But you were my sister in this. It's so satisfying to see people get their comeuppance, because in this world, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's not
release. Yeah. No,
I
can't wait to talk more about this because you like literally, if you turn on the news, it's just like another injustice, and like it always seems to be that like Black women are on the front lines of this, and like always being the ones who are like taking the brunt of the force, and then being asked to like solve the problem, and like having that weight and that burden to carry it, while still trying to navigate how to show up in a way that's palatable for other people to like understand and like take you in and like take all of them in. And so for someone who's always loved like this revenge thing, I've never seen it through like our perspective and like with our like dark, beautiful Black girls as the center of the screen, and like as this like this need for like feeling rage. Like me personally, I struggle with expressing my rage, and like I felt very seen by Anaya, and I was like, dang, like when there was a line that's like, if you're weak, then if I'm weak, then you're weak. I'm like, dang, I have that conversation with myself often, and like it just this feeling of like how am I able to like let my rage be expressed? And this film was like a vessel for that. And I just wanted to like thank you
Mm,
for the time for that, but also like how
oh,
you approach that feeling of like releasing rage and like is expressing rage
mhm,
too.
mhm. Yeah. Well, you know, I definitely my writing is always close to myself. As I
Mm.
said, it's always about something that keeps me up at night because I need to feel that strongly about it to do it because writing is hard. I find it
Yes.
difficult, right? What really is they go hand in hand. It's like there's already passionate feeling. There's already a sense that it might be useful to other people, though I didn't know how many other people would experience it. I didn't think I wasn't sure it would ever be produced at all, even as a play. And so in terms of like expression of rage, this is one of mine, right? And I'm not proposing in this movie any way for anyone to do that, right? This is not a literal
Yeah.
proposition. I do think that Black women should be given the space to live to the full edges of ourselves, and that we should give ourselves the space to like be who we are, to be fully human. I think people deny and they don't recognize the ways that they deny us the full measure of our humanity. So I think yes, the central theme I think in this work is that Black women get to be who they are, that there is a reason and a cause for their rage that is justified. I don't judge them. The posture of the movie is not they shouldn't feel angry or woe is them for that. It really is just giving them the space. And then the release, I experienced catharsis as well in this movie. I don't want to spoil anything for listeners who haven't seen it, but my favorite part is the climax of the movie, and I just want to extend it, and I feel free, and you're not the first person who's told me that, so I feel like gosh, it's doing good work. If people are actually going, this is a vessel now. Now this thing can take on a bit of the burden, right? I think that's the job of story often. It does it for me. That's what it did for me. I'm not out here swinging a rock and a sock. But there's something about creating a Racine and letting her say the things I can't say, won't say, and letting Anaya also express some of the vulnerability that I don't feel safe expressing. So there's just deep connection between like I've heard it said that the myth actually is the first place of like human psychology, right?
Mm.
That's the first place where we put our minds to work and you could see the workings in a narrative. And Racine and Anaya could certainly be considered different aspects of the psyche, right?
Mhm.
One feels like you should go this way. One feels like this is the way to deal with trauma. Yeah, there's a lot to be said, but that's what I'll say about, expression and release of rage.
Beautifully said, beautifully written, and like how it came to life. I love the take on using twins to express that. And I loved like the role of Black women throughout the film. Like we see it through like Vivica A. Fox's character as Ruby, as God, and then you see as like Erica Alexander as Divine, and then you see these twins who are just like all kind of working and like responding to one person and how they all respond to different ways. And I really love the take of like what is forgiveness like, what role does forgiveness play? And is forgiveness for you or is forgiveness for the other person? And sometimes, like, is
Mhm.
forgiveness overrated? Like, is justice more
Mm.
or is that taking more of, like, center stage? So, like, I guess my question is, like, what did you find yourself, like, relating more to a character while you were writing them? Were they all different parts of you? Or were you speaking to different, like, women in your life or different feelings that you were feeling while, like, creating these different, like, characters?
Yeah, I think they're all parts of me. They all feel true and like authentic to myself. Even the boy twins, I really sort of reach inside of myself and try to think about moments that felt akin to what the characters are going through so that I can write from the inside. Because I think you can feel that when a writer has written from the outside at a distance, they have no meat on the hook, or when they're like right inside of it, and it costs something. Yeah, so I as I said, I wrote it from the inside and I was really thinking about different ways of expressing different things that these characters are going through. And I hope that it feels sincere. So, okay, you did ask like if I related to someone more than another. So I definitely related most to Racine. She
Mhm.
felt the most like, but she's like the unspoken, the shadow. So like she pops off so she felt the closest to myself. And then Anaya, I think is second to that. Yeah. So those two for sure, I felt very close to, and definitely related to their pain as young women who feels it's like so marginalized in more ways than one that I think can even be named. The sense of desolation that they feel. I think as a young person, I felt that a lot as an artist, as a human. The things that went on for me socioeconomically and in other ways, it just was, as I've said it's kind of they become like avatars.
No, while watching this, I truly, like, felt like I like, your heart through this, and I felt like I was like I feel like
Mhm.
I feel like I felt very parasocial about you. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we're on the same page," but
Yes,
one thing
love
that,
that.
like, really stuck out to me was, like, this film story has a lot of dark themes and is very graphic and very, like, in your face about, like, it doesn't shy away from it, and
Mhm.
while navigating all that, I still found a lot of joy and humor watching it, and I always
Mhm.
loved how like, I remember, like, I think junior year of high school, I wrote, like, a paper on how, like, I noticed that, like, in my family, my circles, we use humor as a way to deal with, like, pain, and
Yeah.
I saw that coming back in this, and, like, it wasn't in a sense because you see sometimes with Black stories where there's just, like, pain is, like, fetishized, and it's, like, almost like, "Ooh, like,
Yeah.
how much more can we pull from it?" And, like, I had the fear of that watching this movie, like, "Oh, is this gonna be, like, a sad, like, story where I'm just, like, seeing the whole time?" And, like, it wasn't that at all.
Mm.
It was freeing experience of just, like, you could if it felt really relatable, it felt like these are, like, cousins I could, like, relate to in a way I was like, "Oh, like, there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of, like, violence, like, harm happening to them constantly," and I'm just like, "Oh, I just want them to have a win," and, like, you see that there's, like, love and, like, this, like, common thread where they get to, like, be this, like, place of joy for each other and, like, throughout the films. How'd you do that? How'd you, like, navigate that balance of those 2, like, heavy things with also, like, that lightness?
I think I first of all, it's very heartening to hear you say that. Thank you. That's what I wanted. And the answer is just that I needed that as well. I too have experienced the ways that people fetishize our grief and our anger. I too understand the ways that the culture is addicted to a certain representation of the suffering Black woman or the
Yeah.
stereotyped angry for no reason Black woman, right? And I needed that nuance. I needed all the detail. And I also needed the humor. As you said, it's true to life. This is right. But it's so satisfying to me when people laugh because I like in my head, I'm like, I'm so weird. This is so
Yeah.
bleak. But people are laughing in the theater. They get all these little weird, these little the foolishness and just my you ain't
Yeah,
shit devil like
I wouldn't
that.
say so much. I'm just like, "Oh, I can't say that part," but I was like, there's parts where I was hollering. I was like, "Wait, I should not be laughing this loudly. Like, let me calm down for a second."
No, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. And I do think culturally, I felt the difference in audience reaction. Because I think
Mhm.
in our culture, there are certain things that we know and we feel permission to laugh about. Like it's a thing that we're raised with. As I said, it's in the culture. And yeah, so it's just been fun to feel that out. But yes, absolutely very intentional that I knew that if it were all grief, there's a version of this that's quite terrible. There's a version of Is God Is It's played so hyper serious and it's a total dirge and it's uninteresting and you leave the theater feeling like completely hollowed out. It hasn't renewed you in any way. It hasn't fed you. I hope that the version that we give you is there's an upswing. It's heavy, it's hard, it's got a razor's edge, but ultimately we end where we end. And yeah, I hope that the complexity and the nuance of it makes it a more delicious meal than just a straight up tragedy that's super heavy and does all the things I'm trying to challenge with the story.
No, trust me, I was eating it all up. It was
Good.
it was very
Yeah.
delicious. Wait, it's like I just was like truly, like, I've been thinking about the film. I saw it on Saturday, so it's been, like, every day I'm just like, "Wait, what about that scene?" Or what about, like, how this, like, transforms this? And, like, my question is for you, like, this is, like has been part of your, like, life for so long and, like, first as a play and then bring it to film, and now you're, like, promoting it, seeing, like, people take their opinions and, like, share their thoughts and, like, receive it. What's it feel like to have something that was so deeply personal to you now out open in the world? I can imagine it feels very vulnerable and very, like, exposing.
Yeah, that's a question that I love when people ask or consider what that means.
Yeah.
Um, it is I sort of steel myself because on a much smaller scale, I've had this happen. I write this thing, it's just me for years. It takes years for me usually to write something, like not straight on, but like over years, I work on it. And it's deeply private, and I'm just kind of doing my thing, and there's no one around to judge it unless I invite a critical friend to read it. It's just me. And then other people respond. And even if they don't respond with their voice, they respond with their face. And suddenly other people are sort of coming into this land that I created and like putting their feet on the furniture. So sometimes that's a negative framing, but it can feel, as you said, quite vulnerable and disruptive. So I had to steel myself on the way into making this movie and remind myself, like, okay, first of all, you have a pure version of Is God Is. You have
Yeah.
the version that you made with yourself that no, it was just you doing your thing. And a few critical friends looked at it and gave you thoughts, and you did what you wanted. This movie is a different animal. And you're
Mhm.
going to have to take into account that this thing has cost millions of dollars. Lots of people are invested, lots of voices. And I know how it goes with feedback. People
Yeah.
become experts on your work, and you just
Mhm.
have to like find a way to manage that. And also the release of it, which is happening now, which is
Yeah.
when people, I've sat in theaters and listened to other people's reactions to it. If they laugh or they don't laugh. I actually went to the preview of it and listened to they survey people. What did you like? What did you not like? And it can get a little brutal. They can say some things that are a little spicy and a little, I'm a sensitive creature. Just to
Yeah.
hear people say things, it's kind of rough. You're being publicly graded, but it happens as a playwright. Publicly, people are saying whether you did well or not. They're speculating. They're presumptuous. They haven't read Toni Morrison, but they got something to say. These things have
Yeah.
happened to me a few times. I've had great reviews. I've had not great reviews. It can be very challenging. And I think an artist's mental health, especially an artist who's going to be graded the way that I am, is something to be spoken about. So the short answer to your question is yes, very vulnerable. I feel strong. I feel fortified. I definitely thought on the front end, what will I do if it's bad? If people don't get it, react badly to it? I feel so fortunate that the reactions have been largely very, very good. There might, who knows what will come down the pipeline. But for now, it feels like I'm like, oh my gosh, people get it. They enjoy it. They appreciate it. This feels very nice. But I also am always aware of like, you have to hold a kind of center for yourself so that no matter what comes, you can come back to being okay. It's okay to grieve it and to get upset and to feel rage or whatever, but like take care of yourself in the long run. So it's rough though. I'm not going to lie. And I've had some moments, some very bleak periods after something got reviewed badly where I just was totally depressed and felt very alone. Right? Some people they don't come asking how you're doing when it's not good. You
Yeah.
know. You know.
No, and that
So.
that ties in perfectly to, I think, what the film talks about, or like there's like this like common like theme of the film is like the silencing of things, like the silencing of like the harm that was done to the twins, to Ruby, to like anyone who this man came in contact with. Honestly, the silencing of that, and like this almost like gaslighting of like, no, that didn't happen, or like, oh, people are like saying like get over it, or like move
Yeah.
on, or like this, why hold on to this, but like this, like, feeling that, like, we always have to be the ones to, like, be okay, and just not, like,
Mhm.
be the strong one. Like, I really the work I do at the foundation, I really want Black women to always feel that they have a place they could be soft, they could be themselves, they could be vulnerable,
Mhm.
they could be safe, they could be seen, and, like, yes, there's, like, Black girl magic, and we love it, and there's strong Black women who we are surrounded by and who we know, but, like, we're so much more than that, and I love how this film truly showcases, like, the layers of, like, who we are and all that we can be, both, like, the ugliness of not even the ugliness of rage, but, like, the empoweringness of rage, and so that's
Yeah.
something I want to dive in a little bit more with you, is just, like, this feeling of, like, rage and being silenced, and, like, how do you navigate, like, the 2, and, like, it seems like this is, like, a response to, like, just this mass silencing that's been happening of Black women. Like, it feels so timely right now because I think we're, like, 600,000 Black women are unemployed right now from this, like, current
Mm,
administration, just trying to, like,
mm,
really give them a space to be like, "Hey, you have a right to be angry and the right to have rage." And so, yeah, I just wanted to, like, pick your brain a little bit about how, because I kept noticing, like, oh, they keep being silenced. I kept being like, "Oh, you should, like, not do this," or this, like, "I don't care this
yep,
happened to you." I kept feeling, like, so bad. I want to, like, be like, "No, like, they deserve to feel this way."
mm,
So, yeah, how did
mhm.
you, like, approach that?
Yeah, I those things are in the movie because I've experienced them and because I've seen other women experience them. There's a bit that got cut from the movie where Anaya talks about paternalism, and it's with the lawyer. She convinces him to tell them what happened because she has this little monologue about like, wow, it must be so nice for you to tell us what we should do with ourselves, and you haven't had to experience the things that we've experienced. And also, you let yourself off the hook by the way you helped this man get away with what he did to us, right? So that's not in the movie, but it's in the spirit of the movie. And we see it continually. People think they know what's best for these young women. Even their mother, everyone they encounter has an idea of what the best way is to react to this man, the person who chases them down in the helmet, right? And that is so true to us. People really think, and what I know what it is about Black women. I know about cultural mythology. They really think they know better than you. You can be an expert. We know how it works. You can have studied, and their brain cannot accept that you might be completely competent and not need their help.
Yeah.
They don't like a no. I mean, we could go down this path, but I think I just wrote again from the inside. And I think that I wanted to, as I've said, give myself the space. And I love the idea that this gives other Black women the space for their rage, and it affirms it, and it thinks about the power of it. My anger changed my life. This story changed my life. I wrote my anger and was free and expressive about it, and it's blessed other people and it has blessed me. It is powerful, and it's brought me a lot of joy. It's brought a lot of good things into my life. This is a very good thing that my anger brought me, right? So I think there's I feel empowered by it. There's sometimes in my journey where I don't know if you've had this. There's a thing that I need to do to stand up for myself. I can only do it if I'm angry. If I'm
Oh.
not, that voice kicks in about being a nice girl and wanting to be liked and wanting to mind my reputation. But if I'm angry, if my anger gets in the driver's seat, there are things I can get done. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? She's like, no, no, no. Angry Elisa will get it done. And so I kind of
Mhm.
love her. So you can hear even as I'm framing that, it's like another self. It's like a twin
Yeah.
self takes the wheel and is like, no, no, no. Here's what's gonna happen. Here's how I'm gonna take care of Alicia. Almost like this
Mhm.
someone else is taking care of me, right? The
Yeah.
way that I would want to be taken care of, right? So
No,
yeah.
I feel like you keep segueing me into my next question. I love this for us. No, because for me, I best express my anger, when it's in defending of someone else, and that's why I
Mm,
it so much to Anaya's character because, like, there's almost like this, like, freedom and, like, being able to stand up for someone who you care so deeply about because, like, you may be able to treat me in a certain way, which I'm working on, but, like, having someone who you love and care about see them at risk or endangered, like, it calls to light, like, "Oh, there's something in me that is awakened, and, like, I need to, like, protect
mhm,
this person, like, be there for that person," and it reminded me of the relationship I have with my sisters and, like, how, like, dear I hold them and how much I would do anything to protect them.
mhm,
And our
mhm,
theme this year at the foundation is healing in community and, like, what
mhm,
community looks like and feels like for you and how you're able to heal with your community. Because, like, I know you mentioned, like, people check in on you when it's good, but, like, sometimes when it's not, they're just like, "Okay, crickets," you know? So, like, who is in your community that, like, gives you that space and freedom to feel like your truest self, your most, like, free self, and, like, how does that help you in your healing journey?
Yeah, well, thank you. What a beautiful question. My mother, of course, springs to mind. My mother loves me unconditionally. She's just a wonder, and she really helped me through the process of making this movie. She was the one I would call. Like it really got my mother talks me off of the ledge and is really a source of strength and a reminder of what the journey has been. So my mother is one. My partner is another. He too, like he is just a wonder, and he's a great. They both are great at reminding, right? So
Mhm,
there's things I already know, but they sort of remind me that I know things about myself, about the world, about human behavior, and that's really helped me in the process of making this movie, which feels quite immediate, but also just in my life. I have really, really wonderful friends. A lot of them live far away, but they check in, and these are, with the movie, again, I think a lot about who would be around if it flopped, right? I'm like, who are the people who will love me the same if it doesn't do well, right? And so those are my friends. Those are people who've been at my side for years. who hold me down, who always check in, have been cheerleaders, and who care about my mental health. Who my friend Nairi, she has a habit of just saying, "How's your heart?" She just checks in, "How's your heart?" What a lovely question from a lovely person. So I'm lucky that I have very gentle, thoughtful people who love me deep down, who would love me if I never wrote another thing. That's my source of strength and the well that I can draw from.
No, and I can see all of them shining through you, and I just am so grateful that you have this beautiful community of people who truly remind you of who you are. I feel like when we're in our lowest of lows and just like the depths of despair and like isolation, like having people who can like tap you, even when like they're calling you out, like this isn't you, and like seeing that being reflected in the film was really powerful and like really, like I said, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought the film was amazing. Flopping, I can't see that happening truly. Like just in my opinion, I think it's gonna go down in history. It's like truly just one of the most beautiful films. Like truly, it's just so grateful. So
Mhm.
yes, thank you so much, Aleshea. Like truly, this conversation has been so illuminating for me, and just such a space where I can like really just express like all my gratitude for this film and like this space of like giving me a place to just like feel all the emotions and all the things. And everyone who's listening,
Mhm.
please go watch it. Like it is a great piece of art and storytelling and just makes you feel really seen and really whole. So thank you so much. Please like let people know where they can find you, where they can support you, how they could just be in your community in like all the beautiful ways.
Thank you. So I'm on Instagram. That's like the only social media I'm really on. My name is spelled Aleshea.Harris, and that's how you can find me on Instagram. And I really appreciate getting to be here today. Thank you, Rachel, for your wonderful questions. And I take care.
Yeah, thank you. All right, take care, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for a very special episode of The Unfolding, presented by the Loveland Foundation. At the Loveland Foundation, we are committed to showing up for communities of color in unique and powerful ways, with a particular focus on Black women and girls. Our resources and initiatives are collaborative, and they prioritize opportunity, access, validation, and healing. Since our founding, the Therapy Fund has provided financial support for therapy to over 13,000 Black women, girls, and non-binary individuals across the country. This year, our goal is to provide free therapy to at least 6,000 more. If you'd like to join us and invest in generational change, visit our website at thelovelandfoundation.org for ways to give. To stay updated on new episodes and any future programming, follow us on Instagram and Meta, or check out our website at thelovelandfoundation.org.